Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well and happy. So, before we begin, my friends, let's pay our homage to the Supreme Buddha. We are going to chant this three times. So, say with me. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, my dear friends, so for few minutes, let's meditate on our breathing. So please have a comfortable posture and close your eyes. Now try to focus your attention towards your breathing. Now while you keep your focus to your breath, whenever you breathe think to yourself, in, 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 up until your in-breath finishes. Think in, in, in. Whenever you breathe out, up until your out breath finishes, think out, out, out. Again, in, 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 out, out, out. Do this for 5 minutes. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, now you can open your eyes. Okay, my dear friends. Uh, so we just started our a new sutta study session. So this is called Mindfulness in Buddha's Way. Here we explore teachings of the Buddha, um, and we learn the suttas that taught by our Supreme Buddha. So, my friends, last week we learned about the Buddha and the meaning of the term Buddha. So, we learned that the Buddha is the person who is awakened to the true nature of the existence. So, by that name, so we call him the Buddha, the awakened one. So, today, my friends, we will discuss about the Dhamma, so the Buddha's teachings. So, I thought before we start to discuss the Satipatthana Sutta, I thought like before that we should have some basic knowledge on the Buddhist concepts. So at this time we will discuss about the Dhamma. So I'm going to do this by sharing with you Buddha's own words, um, and we will learn that specific suttas which Buddha explains about what is the meaning of the Dhamma and who is the Buddha. So let's take a look at that. Now, my friends, Buddha say mendicants. Mendicants means another way of addressing the monks. So the Buddha said mendicants, monks, whether realized ones arise or not, whether the Buddhas arise or not, this law of nature persists. This regularity of natural principles, this invariance of natural principles. So whether there is a Buddha or not, that law of nature persists all the time. Which means, my friends, if we think about the modern age, so we don't see the Buddha alive here. So, but the law of nature persists. This regularity of natural principles, this invariance of natural principles, what are they? What is that law of nature? So the Buddha say that is the all conditions are impermanent. All conditions are unsatisfactory and all things are not self. So this is the the true nature of the existence. So when it comes to our body, our feelings, and our perceptions, our choices, they all have the nature of impermanence, which means, my friends, it keeps changing. So our body is changing, our feelings changing. So the way that we perceive things, they all subject to change. And because of that change, Buddha say all conditions are unsatisfactory, which means we can't seek the complete satisfaction by the things which change. So because of that, every time when it change, when it impermanent, so we start to feel that unsatisfactoriness. When our bodies, feelings change, so we see that there is the unsatisfaction. So Buddha say all conditions are unsatisfactory and all things are not self because that those things, whatever condition has the impermanent nature, unsatisfactory nature, they are not self, which means we can't uh, pay our complete authority over those things to find the self in it because they are changing. Now, the Buddha said this is the law of nature, whether there is a Buddha or not. So, this keep happening in our lives, though there is a Buddha or not. Buddha say, a realized one understands. He understands this and comprehends it. Then he explains, teaches, asserts, establishes, clarifies, analyzes, and reveals it. So Buddha revealed that the impermanent nature, unsatisfactory nature, and the not self nature to the others as a awakened one, as a realized one. So Buddha used so many methods to explain that law of nature. What is that? The impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and not self. Now, the methods that Buddha used is called, there are 9 methods like sutta, geyam, vyakaranam. What are they? Buddha say those are statements. And sometimes he uses mixed prose and verses. Sometimes he uses discussions to reveal that. Sometimes he uses verses and inspired exclamations. And legends, stories of past lives, amazing stories that is unique for the Buddhist life, and elaborations. So when you search the teachings of the Buddha, you find these different methods that Buddha used to explain us this impermanent nature of our lives, the unsatisfactory nature of our lives, and the not self nature of our lives. So now it is said that, my dear friends, uh, from the night when the realized one, the Buddha, understands the supreme perfect awakening until the night he becomes fully extinguished, which means the day that he understood this law of nature, this this nature of existence, until the night he becomes fully extinguished, which means the night that he enters to the complete extinguishment, which means we call the nibbana. So until the day that he entered to the nibbana element, from the day that he became awakened, in between time, that period of time, everything he speaks, says, and expresses is real, not otherwise. So it does not change whatever he speaks, says, and expresses, no matter whichever the way the Buddha teach that he's awakening to the others, so it doesn't change. It is real. So, my friends, our Buddha became enlightened in the day in Vesak day. We call it Vesak, the full moon day of month May. So from that day on up until the day that he passed away, he lived 45 years. So whatever he spoken is not otherwise, it's real, it doesn't change. Why? Because it is his knowledge of awakening, it is the knowledge of impermanence. That's why it is real and not change, because he revealed the nature of our own life, so it doesn't change with the time. So when the Buddha gave the first sermon, when he preached to the first monks, so it is said that most of the deities and gods heard this Buddha's teaching, and they started to uh, cry out of joy by saying this. It said that, and when the Buddha rolled for the wheel of Dhamma, so the Dhamma is said to be a wheel, the earth gods raised the cry. So they raised a joyful cry like this. The gods that is living closer to the earth, they said like this. Near Varanasi, in the deer park at Isipatana, the Buddha has rolled forth the supreme wheel of Dhamma. So Buddha rolled the wheel of Dhamma. You know, my friends, the wheel is something like rolled forward or it rolls backwards. So when the supreme wheel Dhamma was rolled forward, and that wheel cannot be rolled back, the earth god said that that wheel cannot be rolled back. No one can roll it backwards because it rolled forward, because it is the nature of the existence. Now they said by any ascetic or Brahmin or God or Mara or Brahman or by anyone in the world cannot roll it backwards because it already rolled forward, the wheel of Dhamma, because it is already revealed. There's nothing to reveal it later. So it is revealed for the entire population of the beings in this world. So whoever fortunate to understand, so they can start to experience the awakening. So my friends, usually this, if you can see this picture, so this picture symbolizes the Dhamma. It always symbolizes by a wheel because it's something turning forward. So when we listen to the Dhamma, so if we clear out uh, within ourselves the true nature, so it doesn't go back. It always remains with us. Now, there's a very interesting sutta teaching by our Supreme Buddha. He said, mendicants, towards evening, the lion, king of beasts, emerges from his den, yawns, looks around the four quarters, and roars his lion's roar 3 times. Then he sets out on the hunt. Before the lion go to the hunt, so he look all around and do a 3 times of lion's roar. And whatever animals hear the roar of the lion are typically filled with fear and terror. They return to their lairs, be they in a hole, the water, or wood, and the birds take to the air. So all the other animals become frightened by that sound of the lion's roar. Even the royal elephants, bound with strong harness in the villages, towns, and capital cities, break apart their bonds, even that they were so much tightly bound, they break them out of terror, out of fear, and urinate and defecate in terror as they flee here and there. That's how powerful is the lion, king of beasts. So when the lion make that roar, every other beings are frightened because it is such a powerful thing. Among animals, how illustrious and mighty. So it is such a powerful uh, sound. In the same way, Buddha say, just as the same way, when a realized one arises in the world, though it is very rare to appear a Buddha to the world, it is very rare incident to be seen a Buddha in real life. So when the realized one arises in the world, perfected, a fully awakened Buddha, he teaches the Dhamma. He starts to reveal this nature of the life. This is impermanent. This is changing. This is unsatisfactory. This is not self. When he teaches that teaching, he teaches like this: such is form, such is the origin of form, such is the ending of form. Form is, my friends, our body and body of others, and anything physical, like anything that we can see. So, like buildings or vehicles or trees, animals, whatever the form, Buddha explain, this is the form, and this is how it origin, and this is how it ends. This is the feeling. Happiness, sadness, these are the feelings. And this is how it origin and this is how it end. This is the perception. This is how it arises and this is how it passes. These are the choices. And this is the consciousness. And this is how it arises and this is how it ends. So when the Buddha explained this, he explained the impermanence. Impermanence of the five aggregates. So in our life, my friends, when it comes to our individual existence, so we have this form, feeling, perception, choices, and consciousness. That's all we have with the birth. So it is said that the five aggregates are the components that make up an individual's experience and sense of self. This is where we seek ourselves on our form, feeling, perception, choices, and consciousness. Now, Buddha explained the origin and passing away of that five aggregates. Again, Buddha says suffering in brief is also the five aggregates subjected to clinging. So he explained this. There is no a permanent self in the form, permanent self in the feeling, permanent self in the perception, choices, and consciousness. There is no uh, solid thing which is not changing. Buddha say all of these five aggregates, form, feeling, perception, choices, consciousness, are impermanent. So when he teach that, Buddha say when he explained that, interesting happens. Buddha only show the law of nature. He show this is the law of nature in your life. So now there are gods who are long lived. They are very beautiful and very happy and living for ages in their divine palaces. So the gods who are very beautiful, very attractive, and very powerful, and living for ages in their divine mansions, when they hear this teaching by the realized one, they are typically filled with fear, awe, and terror. They, they feel frightened. They feel fear. They become so much terrified. Why? Because it was something they never heard before. And again, they were so much attached to their mansions, to their divine palaces. They thought they live forever. They thought that they are living very happily. But Buddha explained this. So it is said that they say like this. Anicchava kirabo mayang samana nicchamhati amanyimha. They say, oh no, it turns out we are impermanent, though it, oh no, it turns out we are impermanent, though we thought we were permanent. Aduva kirabo mayam samana duamhati amanyimha. It turns out we don't last, though we thought we were lasting. They don't have any doubt about that because they realize that when the Buddha teach that asassatava kirabo mayam samana sasatam hati amanyima. It turns out we are short-lived, though we thought we were eternal. Mayampi kirabo anicca adva asassata sakaya pariya panyati. It turns out that we are impermanent, not lasting, short-lived, and included within substantial reality because they were attached because of the craving towards their life. When the Buddha teach this, they weep like this. So it turns out that we are impermanent, not lasting, short-lived, and included within substantial reality. So we are subject to impermanent. We are subject to unsatisfactoriness, and we are subject to not-self. Buddha say, like the lion's roar, that when the lion roar 3 times, that's how powerful is the realized one in the world with its gods. How illustrious and mighty. So when the Buddha teach that all the other beings together with the humans uh, think that we thought that we were last forever, but now our life is impermanent. So that is how much it's powerful. So as we can see, my friends, the reason why we can't see this nature is because of the ignorance. So the Buddha say ignorant mind does not is not easy to awaken. But once it awakened, so it doesn't go away from the Dhamma because they awakened to their life by themselves and they seek their awakening by their own life. So it doesn't turn back like a wheel, it only turns inside. So, my friends, if we also investigate our life, let's say we have some pain. So, for an example, let's say there is a feeling which hurting us, like sad feeling. When we start to investigate that, so if we are able to understand its impermanent nature, its unsatisfactory nature, and its non-self nature, we will be able to reduce our pain by the support of that knowledge. In the first place, the reason why beings are wandering in the samsara into different births and different realms is because the root is the ignorance. When we start to see through the Dhamma, when we start to penetrate that our life through the knowledge of the Dhamma, we start to cultivate that knowledge. We start to see the way things are. We see, oh, this sad feeling. Originally, it has this changing, it is impermanent. I don't want to attach to that. So then it gradually reduce its power and it will be neutralizes and it will get away from you. Now, my friends, after Buddha taught these teachings, Buddha say there are some specific qualities that is unique for the teaching because it is the result of awakening. So it is always around us. Now, if you can remember, my friends, once in a teaching, Buddha said to another person that when that person was searching for end of the world by his physical uh, walk, so it said that he went to search for the end of the world by his physical form. Now the Buddha say in that moment, you can't find the end of the world by going searching it outside. The end of the world is here. Buddha say the end of the world is in our individual existence. We have that end of the world in ourselves. Buddha say, in this body, feelings, you will find that end of the world. You will find there is impermanent nature in life. There is unsatisfactory nature of the life. There is not non-self nature of the life. If you understand that, you end the world, which means you end the uh, round of rebirth. You end the suffering. You become awakened. You release from all the suffering in the world. So Buddha say, in it does not happen with a with it only happen with the Dhamma. It only happen with the teachings. Now the Buddha say this Dhamma has these beautiful qualities. First quality of the Dhamma is Swakato. The beginning of that exalted Dhamma is excellent. When the Buddha start to teach the Dhamma, the beginning, when somebody enters to the Dhamma, it is excellent because it develops your virtue. It develops your uh, good conduct when you enter to the Dhamma. The middle of that exalted Dhamma is excellent because it develops concentration. Now, the middle of that Dhamma is the concentration, which means we are trying to still our mind. That's the middle. And the end of that exalted Dhamma is excellent because it develops wisdom. Now, the final goal of the Dhamma is the wisdom, the knowledge of impermanence. That knowledge is the end result. So, that knowledge helps to awaken ourselves. The awakening is the final goal in our life. Now, we practice Dhamma to enter to that final goal, but there is a path for that. That path starts with the virtue, concentration, and it ends with the wisdom. Now, it is just like a ocean, like when we enter to the ocean, first we don't go to the middle and jump in the middle, but we start gradually from the coastline and we gradually enters to the ocean. And we first see the shallow water and then gradually it goes to the bottom. So the same way, we don't all of a sudden start to still our mind without going, without observing the training rules. So we first need to uh, develop the virtue and then stillness, concentration, and then wisdom. Now, this was already taught by the Buddha for the complete extent. It is well described, it's well expounded, it is well taught by the Buddha, which means we don't have something to put it into the teaching later on. Let's say now it's 2000 years old, but we can't put anything into that because it's already revealed. There is virtue, there is concentration, there is wisdom, and that is excellent. And the second quality is Sandittika, the Dhamma proclaimed by the Supreme Buddha with great compassion to the beings, can be realized in this very life. You can see it here and now. You don't need to stay for the next minute to see the impermanence in your life. If you see the impermanence in your life, you start to reduce your pain. So you start to see your thoughts as impermanent, your body as impermanent, your feelings as impermanent. You reduce your ignorance and you start to awaken to that nature. So it does not take so long. You can do this in this very life. You don't need to stay for the next life. I'll see the Dhamma in the next life. No, you don't need to stay for the next. So, my friends, even when it comes to the Dhamma, like it is visible, like it is possible to awaken to our life in this very life. So that's how the Buddha taught that. So with the great compassion. So that's the second quality. And the third, akaliko, which means the Dhamma proclaimed by the Supreme Buddha can be realized at any time, which means it, let's say if somebody learned this Dhamma, let's say in the future for 3,000 years in the future, if the Dhamma exists up until then, so if they start to meditate and start to awaken themselves, they can realize the nature of the life in the future. Or if the people who lived in the Buddha's time also did that, and the people who are living in the present day, like us, we can also realize at this time. So, which means it does not change by the time. But it is said that the sense pleasures, the pleasures that we take into our senses, will change by the time. Which means, let's say there's a very attractive, beautiful person. By the time that attractiveness fades away, their voice, it might be very attractive while they were young, but when the time comes, it gradually change and their physical appearance changes. So this pleasure of the senses keep changing, but Dhamma does not change. That knowledge of awakening does not change. But whatever else in the world, the physical things, they are changing. They have the nature to change. Now the Buddha say this Dhamma can be realized at any time, no matter whatever the time, like let's say it's 2000 years now, but the Dhamma is the same. Now, the next quality of the Dhamma is ehipassiko. Dhamma is open for investigation. The Dhamma does not contain hidden sermons, hidden advices, or hidden discussions. The Dhamma shines openly like the sun and the moon, free from clouds. As long as the clouds are free, so the sun or the moon shines, and it brings light for all the beings in the world. So the same way, the Dhamma is open for anyone. Anyone can listen to the Dhamma and start to practice, and they can be awakened. So it is open for the investigation. There is nothing in the Dhamma to go for a certain place and talk with only with specific people. It is not hidden. There's no hidden sermons. There's no any hidden advices, which means there is no advices to give others secretly. So it is open. Or there's no hidden discussions. So it is open. The Buddha say it is like the sun and the moon. It's open for all. The qualities of the Dhamma, Buddha say the next quality, Openaika, the Dhamma proclaimed by the Supreme Buddha should be applied to one's life. It should be seen by one's own life. The Dhamma is not to see by others. I mean, like it is not to uh, judge other people by learning Dhamma. Look, other people are not listening to Dhamma, but that Dhamma is to apply to oneself. This Dhamma should be applied to us by listening, retaining, reciting, investigating wisely, and practicing it. So it is something to be seen by ourselves. Once you listen to the Dhamma, you start to retain it. Oh, this life, this body, these feelings, they are impermanent. And then you recite, which means you might be share that teaching with your other friends. Or when you are alone, you can recite these teachings. And then it helps you to investigate. You start to remember because you recited that. So then you investigate wisely, and then you start to practice it. And the Dhamma is Pacchattam Vedittabbo Vinyuhiti. The Dhamma proclaimed by the Supreme Buddha can be realized by the wise who are honest and straight, irrespective of their race, caste, and clan, which means one should not tie all into their own views because the views can block the awakening. So one should be honest. They should be honest not for the world, but they should be honest to themselves. They should need a goal that anyhow I should awaken myself to this Dhamma in this very life. So if they have such a honest to themselves, so they can start to realize the Dhamma. And it is for the straight, like not for the person who hide their 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 uh, their views or their concepts, but for the one who is open, irrespective of their race, caste, and clan, because these are things which prevent one from awakening, right? So Buddha say one only for that person, Buddha teach the Dhamma. Buddha say when the Buddha teach for that wise person, when if he has the enough effort to awaken to this nature of the life, so they definitely become enlightened because the Dhamma is Dhamma. There's no any um, hidden sermons. Uh, there's no any sacred things in the Dhamma. It's well expounded. It's well open to others. So whoever listen to the Dhamma, they start to when they start to practice it, so they can overcome their suffering little by little. So my friends, Buddha say, Supabuddham pabujjanti sada Gotama savaka yesam divacharattocha nicham dhamma gata sati. What is the meaning of that? The disciples of the Gautama always wake up refreshed, who day and night constantly recollect the Dhamma. Whoever recollect the Dhamma, the teachings, wake up so refreshed in the morning because they spent all their day by being with them and trying to investigate them and to evaluate the impermanent nature, the unsatisfactory nature of the things, and the not self nature of the things. When they realize that, when they start to realize that nature of the life, it brings them so much peaceful mind. They start to uh, uh, they start to gain a very joyful mind, very peaceful mind. They start to experience calmness in their mind because they are not always fixing their emotions or their thoughts with, like, they are not making it permanent. They are simply trying to awaken to themselves. They are not making uh, they are not trying to try harder for the things which is changing. They are trying to realize the change. So that brings the peace to the mind. And that peaceful mind brings so much peaceful sleep. So they wake up refreshed. So Buddha said, not the person who just do it for a few minutes, but the person who investigate all day long, day and night, constantly, when they recollect the Dhamma, so they wake up so much refreshed. So, my friends, uh, Namo Buddhaya, so thank you for listening for this Dhamma sermon. So, if anyone of my friends have any questions about this teaching or anything related to the teaching, so you can ask now. There are two ways you can ask questions: by putting it in the chat box or raising your hand. Yes, hi, Liv.
Namo Buddhaya Bante Kiti.
Namo Buddhaya.
The question that I have for you is, how are these qualities of the Dhamma different than the 8 precepts?
Oh, there's no difference. It's same because eight precepts included in the Dhamma, right?
Okay. So,
Are, are you referring to the Noble Eightfold Path or the 8 training rules?
can you repeat that one more time?
Are you referring it to the Noble Eightfold Path, the practices, or for the training rules of 8 precepts?
The training rules of the 8 precepts.
Yeah, well, the training rules helps to gain some certain amount of peace in mind, though it's not the 8 precepts are not something that gave by the Buddha because it is like immoral, but the reason why Buddha gave the 8 precepts is to support our peace of mind. So the 8 precepts are included in the Dhamma, so the ultimately whatever in the Dhamma help us for the awakening.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Again,
Namo Buddhaya Bante, it's Manfred. How are you?
oh, no. I'm doing good, Manfred. How are you?
I'm good. Bante, I have a little issue with experience. It constantly repeats to experience, no, to realize Dhamma. What does realize stand for from the Pali translation? Does it mean learn, practice, experience?
No, realize Dhamma means the goal. Like, let's say you realize Dhamma completely, so you are awakened. That is
Okay.
why Dhamma is for.
So
Like, that's
it
yeah.
stands for understand?
Sorry.
It stands for completely understand or comprehend?
Yeah, yeah. That is for the complete understanding about what about ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
We have a question in the chat box. Thank you for the class, Jacob. You're welcome, Jacob. So one of our friend asked, "Hi, will this recording be made available?" So thank you for the class. You're welcome, Lauren. Um, yeah, Linda will do that and post it soon in YouTube channel, Toronto Mahamevna Monastery.
Yes.
But what I want my friends is for you is to start to learn by yourself because that can be the way that I understand. But when you start to understand by yourself by learning the teachings, so it can be a different way. Like, I mean, it can open up for your life for that teachings. So because of that, I want you always to go to the Pali Suttas. So there's a website called Sutta Central. So you can find it online, Sutta Central, Sutta, Sutta Central, Central. So yeah, start to investigate your life.
Namo Buddhaya, Ante. Thank you for the
Oh, hello,
lesson.
Namo Buddhaya. Yes,
I have a question.
yes, Helen.
If is awakening or the realization of the Dhamma primarily through suffering?
What? I didn't get it, like the last part. awakening of Dhamma.
Yes, so enlightenment,
Yeah,
do you acquire enlightenment primarily through suffering? Through your own suffering? I find that through my hitting the wall or going through difficult times, I find that the Dhamma becomes more realized to me. Things start to make more sense when I suffer.
Exactly. Yeah. Because Buddha say the person who suffers establishes their faith. So the faith is, or the confidence or the trust is the door to enter the awakening. Let's say as long as we don't have a trust on the teaching, we won't follow that. But when we, but Buddha say, let's say you start to see your impermanent nature in your life, like your feelings, thoughts, they are changing, though that you like it to be there. Like when you see that nature of the impermanence, so you see, oh, it is suffering. So then you go to the teaching and you establish your faith, what else there are about our life. So then gradually you start to learn, and that learning takes you to the final goal, the awakening. So one who see the suffering, Buddha say, they cultivate, they develop their faith. So faith is very important teaching in Buddhist teaching. So yeah.
Thank
And
you.
that faith, let me add a little more. Like Buddha say, that faith is verified. Like it's always verifying, because you see for yourself. Now, let's say the Buddha say, aging, sickness is suffering because it's impermanent. So then you learn that, and you see, yeah, that's true. Like when we gradually, when we go blind, or when we don't hear the sound, or our body start to winkle, so these things happens to us. So that brings us like verified faith. Oh, this is what the Buddha said. This is what he said, suffering. No one can say that old age is not suffering. No one can say that death is not suffering. So there are sufferings. But the most important thing here is to awaken our lives, because I don't think like we can get another chance in the future lives uh, to the awakening, because we already have it here. So yeah. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Mother. Namo Buddhaya.
There's a question in the chat box.
One of our friend. In the chat box, somebody, Linda put the Sutta Central link. You can copy that. Guy, my friend Guy asked, after the Buddha, is it known how many more people have become realized? Yeah, of course, there are thousands of people and millions of people in India those days became enlightened, and they realized. So not only the humans, but it said that even the deities and the gods also awakened. Yeah, my friend Liv.
So, this weekend when there was a full day meditation retreat, and part of what we talked about was that Buddha said that there won't be that many people that get awakened or realized or reach nirvana. Is the awakening that you're speaking of with people becoming realized versus fully enlightened, are they two different things?
No, that's same. But the reason why, like Buddha said it, with compared to the majority of the beings, like majority of the beings in the world. But that is not a problem with the Dhamma, which means it's not the problem with the teaching,
No.
but that's the problem with the beings, because when they go around in the rebirth or when they live their life, so the life is more closer to the ignorance. So like it prevents us from awakening. So the mind becomes more clouded by the way that we interact with the world out of greed, anger, and delusion. So these things clouded the mind and prevent the awakening. So it started to happen while the Buddha was alive. So yeah, and it said that the way that the Dhamma disappear, so the Dhamma disappear from the world, how it disappear is because the people don't wanted to listen to the Dhamma. Buddha say people don't pay their attention when the Dhamma is being spoken. So then gradually disappear up until another Buddha born, and another Buddha start to reveal that. Okay, my friends, now it's 8:34, so we can wrap up. So I hope you enjoyed the discussion. So we learned the Buddha's teachings here. So may all the merits that we collected right now, let's share with all the deities. May all the deities rejoice in our merits. May all the gods or any other being who wish to see our merits, may they rejoice in these merits. May they have happiness in their lives, and may all the deities look after all my friends in their hard times. And by the power of these merits, may all the deities be free from suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may my teacher, Dr. Swamin Wahanse, and all the other Bhantes, and Jivananda Bhante also rejoice in these merits. May the Bhantes have happiness in their lives, and may the Bhantes have the opportunity to awaken themselves to the Dhamma and be free from suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May all my friends who joined with me to this discussion rejoice in these merits. May you also have happiness in your lives. May you have a great success in your spiritual life. May all your dreams come true. And may you have a long life, healthy life, and wealthy life. By the power of this merit, may you also be able to realize the Four Noble Truths and be able to escape from all the sufferings in your lives. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And thank you so much for joining with me, and may you have a wonderful evening.
Namo Buddhaya Bhante, thank you.
Namo Buddhaya Bhante.
Just hold on a little message I have to share with you. Namo Buddhaya, please join our WhatsApp group for reminder for this session by visiting our website. May you be well and happy.
I will answer the WhatsApp group. How can we join the? You can visit our monastery website, Buddha Meditation Center of Greater Toronto. And then there is a link that you can click and join the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group is called Dhamma in English. Many merit. Many
Okay,
merit.
Namo Buddhaya.
For beautiful Dhamma teaching, we would like to ask for forgiveness and share merit Bhante. Dhamma friends, you can join me, please, by unmuting yourself. Okasa Wandami Bhante. Maya
Sukati.
katang punyang samina maliktam.
Sasadana Mudami.
Samina katang punyang mayhang datang.
Sadhu Anumodate.
Sadhu sadhu anumodami. Okasa dona katang sap mangachun.
Navami
Sakamami
Kantabami.
Bante.
Bhante.
Upateva.
Yapyoka Sakamami Bante.
Upateva.
Yapyoka Sakamami Bante.
Sadhu.
Upateva. May you be well and happy. Take care, friends. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo
Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Bhante. Sarasana.